I knew she was trouble the moment she laughed. I knew she was trouble the moment she laughed. Too bright, too loud, too unafraid. Like someone who hadn't learned yet that the world had sharp edges. Or maybe she had learned, and that was exactly why she laughed like that. Either way, that laugh hooked me before I even knew her name. It was a Thursday night in a tiny jazz bar downtown, the kind of place where the lights stay low and the air feels thick with secrets. I had wandered in alone, avoiding home, avoiding decisions, avoiding pretty much everything. She sat at the bar in a red dress that didn't ask for attention but effortlessly demanded it, swirling something citrusy in her glass while tapping her heel to the slow beat filling the room. I don't know what made me walk over. I'm not the type to make the first move, never have been. But she turned her head, the dim light catching the gold in her eyes, and for a second I felt like she was looking right through whatever armor I thought I had. Uh, you look like someone who needs a reason to stay a while, she said, without waiting for an invitation. And you look like someone who gives too many reasons, I shot back, surprised by my own boldness. She smiled then. Soft, crooked, dangerous. Try me. That's all it took. We talked for an hour that felt like 5 minutes. She made every word feel like a dare, every touch a spark. When she leaned in to tell me her name, Mara, like the tide, she said, I forgot the world outside that bar even existed. When the band played a song about loving someone so hard it hurts, she nudged my shoulder and whispered, That's the kind of love I believe in. I laughed like I didn't believe her, but something in my chest loosened at the thought. We left the bar together. I don't remember who suggested it. Maybe it was both of us at once. The night was warm and humming with the kind of electricity that only happens once in a lifetime. We walked the long way home, past closed storefronts and flickering street lamps, our hands brushing until finally they stayed tangled. Do you ever think about how short everything is? She asked. Life, love, all of it. Sometimes, I admitted. Mostly I try not to. Why not? Because it scares the hell out of me. She squeezed my hand. Good. That means you're doing it right. I kissed her before I knew I would, and she kissed me back like she'd been waiting. It wasn't perfect, too eager, too sudden, but God, it felt real. When she pulled away, breathless, she said, If you're going to fall, fall all the way. Half measures kill the soul. Turns out she meant every word. From that night on, we became something that felt too big for the world. We abandoned caution like it was a useless old coat. We spilled into each other's days, morning coffee turning into afternoon escapes, late night conversations turning into early morning confessions. She loved recklessly, all open, all heart. Being with her felt like standing close to a fire, warm, thrilling, a little dangerous. She'd play music in my apartment, swaying barefoot on the hardwood floor, dragging me into her rhythm. Dance with me, she'd say, even if there was no melody except her humming. She'd throw her head back when she laughed, and sometimes I'd just watch her, wondering how someone could shine that brightly without burning out. She talked about the world like it belonged to her. I talked about us like I couldn't believe it did. One night she asked, Do you think love is supposed to last forever? I was lying beside her, tracing circles on her shoulder. Maybe not forever, I said, but long enough. Long enough for what? To matter. She seemed to like that answer. She kissed me like she was memorizing it. But love, real love, has a way of testing you. And hers came with shadows she hadn't shown me yet. It happened quietly. Missed calls, shaky hands, sleeplessness she blamed on just thinking too much, but she'd paste on that fearless smile and change the subject before I could ask more. One evening, after a day that felt too heavy to ignore, I found her on my balcony, staring out at the city lights, shoulders trembling. Mara, I said gently, stepping beside her. She looked up, and there were tears in her eyes she hadn't bothered to wipe. I'm not good at this, she whispered. At what? Letting someone see me when I'm not this. She gestured vaguely at herself, as if her confidence were a costume she could shrug on and off. You don't have to be anything for me, I said. Just be here. She leaned into me then, letting herself be held. For the first time, it felt like she was letting me carry some of her weight. That night, she told me she was sick. Not the kind of sick you shake off, the kind that comes with cold words and percentages and time frames. My world cracked a little. She cried harder when she saw my face than she did when she told the story. I didn't want this to change us, she said through sobs. I don't want you to stay because you feel like you have to. I held her face in my hands. I'm staying because I want to, because I love you. She shook her head. You don't love me. I do, I insisted. I didn't plan it. I didn't expect it, but it happened, and I'm not running from it. She stared at me like she was afraid to believe it. But slowly, she melted into me, like maybe she needed someone to hold the pieces together. Everything changed after that, yet somehow, nothing did. We still danced in the living room. We still talked until dawn. We still kissed like the world might end any minute. If anything, we lived louder, held tighter, laughed harder. She refused to let sadness swallow us. If life's short, she'd whisper against my neck, then we love big. Deal. Some nights when she was tired, she'd rest her head on my chest and whisper, promise me something. Anything. Promise that when the time comes, whenever it comes, you won't be scared. Not for me. Not for you. Just choose happiness, even then. I hated that promise, but I made it anyway, because loving her meant saying yes even when my heart broke. And then there was the night she couldn't sleep from the pain. She climbed into my arms like she always did, and we stayed awake, talking quietly in the dark. If I could choose how it ends, she murmured, I'd choose this, right here, with you. Don't talk like that, I said, voice shaking. She smiled against my collarbone. It's not sad. I'm not sad. I never thought I'd find someone who'd make even the ending feel like something beautiful. I held her close, memorizing the way she fit against me, the rhythm of her breath, the warmth of her skin. She looked up at me with that fearless smile, even through the pain. Hey, she whispered, touching my cheek. If I go first, don't you dare live small. Don't you dare dim your light. You hear me? Mara. No, she kissed me softly, tenderly. I want you to live so big that if anyone asks what we were, you can say we burned bright. No regrets, nothing left unsaid. I didn't know I was crying until she wiped a tear from my jaw. Then she laughed, sad, sweet, stubborn. You're stuck with me, you know, even if I'm not here. I nodded, swallowing the ache. Then stay as long as you can. I will, she promised. And when I can't, just hold me. That's all I want. I did. I held her for hours until her breathing softened, until the world became unbearably quiet. She left the way she lived, gently, fiercely, beautifully. But before she slipped away, before her hand went still in mine, she whispered, thank you for loving me. I'm not afraid, not with you. Afterward, people told me to move on, to heal, to forget. But they didn't know what she gave me. They didn't know how she carved her joy into my bones. And in the quiet moments, on balconies and jazz bars, in the middle of a song that sounds a little like our first night, I can still feel her beside me. Not haunting, just shining. Some loves don't need forever to matter. Ours just needed now. And if I had to do it all again, every laugh, every kiss, every heartbreak, I would. Even knowing how it ends. Because loving her taught me how to live. And if there's any truth to what she believed, that love doesn't stop, it just changes shape, then she's still here somewhere, smiling that fearless smile. And maybe someday when everything's said and done, I'll find her again, and we'll dance.